Hey, welcome back again. This is the second week of the quote-unquote challenge where I play Vintage Story one day at a time, both in-game and in real life. So the moment the day is over, I have to log out as best as I can because as you can see, I'm pretty bad at sticking to the time. I try my best. This week, the main goal is to get some metal going, and I also decide to explore a little more to the other sides that I haven't, because I've been mostly going west instead of going to the other directions. I'm looking for north. I also found a bear as I was going east, and not long after I found that bear, I also found another. So, unfortunately, while I was coming this way, since the bears were also coming this way, and I decided to get the fuck out of there. I also don't know where that bear come from. You can rewind the footage and tell me if the bear just spawned on me, because I believe it did. And right now, I haven't even crafted an anvil. I don't have a pickaxe or a hammer at all. So my main goal for this I guess week in the game is getting that set up, getting a smelting iron set up, and hopefully even manage to get to copper soon. So right now, I'm just going around trying to find bits so I can make a pickaxe. And this is something I never saw in Vintage Story before. This is a cactus. I have played this game a good amount, and I've been exploring a good amount, but I never saw an actual desert biome. This is like a desert area with cactus and stuff. I had never seen this before. So I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to be, explore a lot of this game has to offer. I know there's a lot of enemies and things I have never seen, so this was a new experience for me. I just never saw them. I mean, look at that mound like that, a termite mound like that. I also had never saw it. I saw it on creator mode because like the first thing that pops up. I know they existed, but I never saw them in person. I know there's a thing in game called the stick with termites. I don't know if you can get it. I think I tried and I wasn't able to do it. I don't know how you actually do it. Even that tree over there is new. I never saw the a tree pointed like that. I thought it was like a fruit tree or something. Now I see new creatures. I see emergence. This biome actually looks pretty cool. I try to see if I can do the thing with the sticks, but I can right click it, I can left click it, I try breaking it with it, and none of that seems to work, so maybe it's a crafting recipe. I think I tried, I don't know. And then I noticed those creatures, they're not really wolves or anything, they are hyenas. That's the first time I've seen one in game. And I obviously decided to try to kill it. Primitive survival has those snakes, and they are very hard to hit. Anyway, I pissed off the hyena, so I decided, okay, let's see how strong you are. Turned out, not very. Which was great. You know, this is actually really easy to hunt because they just come to attack me and I could kill them easily for food if I have, and pelts and fat if I want to. So this is actually a really good hunting ground because there's a lot, there's just too many of them just around compared to the wolves that just kind of are here and there, and they're a lot more dangerous. I also have the mod Better Merchant installed. I see this is a Greek rule trader. I get a little weirded out that I can buy another merchant, and I remember, oh yeah, I can move those guys if I buy them and just have them in my own little area for them. I also found the cactus fruit, the saguaro fruit, and it actually heals me. Again, since I've never seen a cactus before, this is the first time I see this fruit. I see all kinds of sort of things that I never saw before, like a cow school. You know, there's no cows in this game that I know of. And thanks to the fruits, it's very easy to stay healed up. I still suck at hunting, and I don't know why I didn't get my spear there. I still suck at hunting, so I go back to doing just that, just sucking at hunting. I notice how much slower the hyenas are, even compared to boars. I feel like the hyenas are slower than boars, and there's like no bushery around, so it's very easy to just never lose track of them. I guess it's not much desert. It might be like more savanna. I don't know the definition. I don't know that people tend to overthink the deserts are like just sand. There's grass in deserts. There's life in deserts. So the ruin I found in the distance. I tried to explore it. Nothing seems to be up there. And I think I saw a little bit of particles thanks to the particle effect mod that they put a little bit of particles on the curse vessels or whatever they call them. Cracked vessels, yeah, that's it. They call them cracked vessels. Because there's no trees or anything, it's actually pretty easy to spot ruins, and since I spot another one, this is one I've never seen before, I believe. This is a type of structure that I've never seen before. And I noticed that there's this hole over here. I thought it was like just a natural cave for me here, but actually I noticed that all this stuff, like, it doesn't look natural, like the stone is formed and everything. I was afraid of first of going there because I thought it was a natural cave, but then looking around, I decided, fuck it, I'll just go down there. I have a light that I can use underwater, so I decided to give it a go, and just as I do, I noticed that it actually is part of the cave, and there's a little cave here, like a little treasure cove. And I'm glad I went there, because I was thinking of not. A little chest. I'm gonna try to take expanded, but you cannot really. Mostly, look at the clothes. I finally get more clothes. I'm still am mostly naked from the can classes. Whatever, when you created the character, didn't let me pick a class. You just forced me to be commoner, but because I never actually picked commoner, I never got the commoner clothes. So I just kind of started this game completely in the nude. And here I suffer with my biggest fault this playthrough, inventory management. When you have other people to play the game, it is a lot easier to manage inventory because you have two inventory spaces, and if you have overlapping items, you can just sort of give it to each other. Even with two people, inventory management when you go spelunking can be hell. Especially if you are like me and you are a big hoarder and everything you see you want to take back, even if you know it's not going to be all that useful in the end. It's part of the reason why I wanted to try to fight the ocean so early, so I can make a boat. And with a boat, I could just sail around and have some chests in the boat to help me with inventory management. I have to run back home because I know the time's running out. And it was a long track home, as you can see by the map. And I still wasn't that close by midnight. And I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna wing it. So long as I don't go 1 hour over, I should be fine. But to be honest, I feel like at some point it was getting kind of ridiculous. And I decided, you know what, if I'm gonna be out and I'm not home by 12, I just kind of have to box myself in the best I can or something and just log out right then and there. Because otherwise, what's the point of the challenge if I technically can go a little bit over it, you know? I try my best to not go over the time. I do. Sometimes I get distracted right at the end and go over, but bear with me, guys. But the moment I get there, after all the exploration, I log out and then I log back in the next day. This is filmed in November 15th. So this is now the 9th day of the playthrough. And I have just gotten enough copper bits to make myself a hammer and a pickaxe. If you're new to Vintage Story, oh no, actually, the reason you need a hammer and a pickaxe to mine is you only need the pickaxe to break the ore, but when you break the ore, the you cannot smelt the ore itself. You have to break the ore apart into smaller parts called nuggets. And you do that using the hammer. So even if you make a pickaxe and come back with the ore, you cannot do anything with it until you break it apart with a hammer. So you need both of them to actually be able to mine. Unfortunately, I have thought about starting the charcoal production, but I don't think I ever actually did start the charcoal production. So firewood will not melt the copper because firewood does not burn hard enough. Not even peat, sorry, burns hard enough. Which means I should go and set up the charcoal finally. I remember the bees and I found the bees finally, and I decided to tend to it later because it's time to get some firewood. Hello, here, I hear this, and I've been using this pad mostly as a dumping ground and just leaving that whatever is in there to get there. I kill some enemies in there sometimes. But I got a fox and it killed my rabbit, so it's time to kill the fox. That's pretty much expected that something was gonna get in there and do something. End up falling down there, which was smart, but very hard to kill the fox from up there. Unfortunately, I also hit my pig, which I don't know what to kill. And he gets a little mad at me, but it's fine. Normally I would use my tools all the way, but because of this mod, if it, like the head breaks and I had the handle and the binding back or whatever, I just clutter in my inventory. I'm not gonna reuse them, I'm just gonna use a new one. Anyway, I come back to the pit I made for making my charcoal, and I just know I have to improve this because I don't want the grass to be growing there all the time. But for right now, I just kind of want the charcoal, so whatever helps, whatever I need to do, I'll do it right now. A lot of times, or a lot of things I cut off that you don't see me doing is things like this. I see that stack of wood and I think, man, that doesn't look very good like that. I decided to just make it try to make it a little better, and I spend way more time doing little stuff like this than I probably should. If I'm gonna be honest, I should probably, instead of be doing this, spending more time, you know, actually changing the materials of my home, making it more, well, more good looking or something. But I try. I honestly do try. come back for another round of exploring. I don't know why I come back to explore this place so many times, but I don't know why, but I keep finding new stuff in here in the first place. And this time in particular, I noticed something very, 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 very important that I did not notice this time. There is a ladder in there. I did not notice when I came here the first time. And in here, I find even more clothes, thankfully. And I find a new schematics that lets me craft those cool fences they have, which is honestly such a fucking good find. I also find a zinc, I believe, a zinc ingot, which does enable me to work towards copper. No, not copper. Bronze. Bronze. What am I talking about? There is a recipe of bronze that uses zinc and bismuthite. So if I can find bismuthite, I could probably make some bronze. I only need really the bronze for the anvil and the pickaxe, because if I can't find iron, those are the only two things I really need. You don't need a bronze anvil for anything else, and you don't need a bronze hammer or anything. The copper hammer will just do fine with the smithing. It's just the bronze tools have a lot more durability, but if you can't just go straight to iron, I highly recommend it, because when you do find iron, it is usually in huge ore vents, and even though making iron is a pain, the tools you get from iron are just marginally better than bronze and copper, so I feel like you should make the upgrade as fast as you can to iron. My personal advice to people. This game is cool because in Vintage Story there are obviously linear progressions, but it's mostly horizontal progression, so you can just go straight to iron. You can't just focus on the metals. You can't just focus on improving your tools right away. You just make armor and better weapons. But you can also just explore to get more schematics. The schematics will make easier for you to get stuff. Obviously, BetterRuins helps with that because it adds a lot of the schematics that you see me getting, and a lot of the ruins you see me finding. But you get a lot of resources just from exploring. You also can go the leather route. And leather allows you to improve your inventory slots. It lets you get armor, it lets you get other materials that you wouldn't be able to get without leather. So there's a lot of directions you can go to improve your character or your playthrough, and none of them are insignificant. Improving your farmland, and searching for rare crops, searching for fruit trees that you can implant, getting more berries near your base, building the base itself, setting space for you to do your things. All of those things, they are not just cosmetic, they're not just optional, they are very much good. In here, I decided to make myself some bear armor. I made the pelt, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna make myself some bear armor. I go against making the pants or the legs, really, because the legs really slow me down, and I do not like being slowed down. Sadly, the top still slow me down a little bit, but I thought, what the hell? It's just a little bit. It gives me protection, right? And I have delayed a lot. I gathered a lot of flowers. I brought them here for the bees, and it's time to set everything down. Bees can be handy. They help you make candles, which will help you make lanterns. If you want a vanilla vintage story, you need to make candles from beeswax to be able to make lanterns. I have mods for other lanterns, and I honestly was not expecting needing to make lanterns out of candles. There are lanterns I can make out of torches, which is obviously much easier to do. So I wasn't really expecting to need that. And you can get some honey as well. You can drink honey. You can put it on your recipes if you're using artillery, expanded, and culinary light or whatever I have. So there are definitely reasons to get your bees up, and I decided to just set it up. Here I wasn't convinced it was really close enough. I just had to put a block in there just to make sure it's close enough. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I do it. I'm deciding if I should get golden combs or whatever it is called, just so I can get the clay beehive thing, which just lets you pick it up without instead of having to break the scalp every time, which is a huge hassle. If you have ever raised bees with scalps, you know how much of a hassle it is to break the scalps, make a new one. You keep getting collected reeds and clay to keep making scalps, which is not ideal. Either way, as I'm finishing my day, I try to set up everything so I can be ready for the next day. I just put the charcoal in, and I should be set for having a mining operation starting. So I log out for the day, and then I log right back in the next day. This day is special because I decided to try using my mic, so you're not gonna be hearing editing me anymore. Take it away, present me. Today is the 16th of November, and I'm trying to do a day with full voiceover because I have done the commentary the last few. I just edited the first week, and I had to do a lot of commentary. I feel like I didn't have to do a lot of commentary, so let's try recording it this time. So my goal for today mostly is get this set up. I want my copper to finally be here so I can do my pickaxe and my hammer so I can actually start mining. Yeah. And once I start mining, my goal is to get that anvil set up. So I probably will try to use the ore blasting thing to check it out how it works. There's a spawner nearby. It's gonna be difficult to go and check my charcoal, which is a little not very good, to be honest. That was faster or not. We can have a vertical rack. It works for that. Okay. It's crazy how clothed I am now. I used to be so naked before. Cool, first of all. Let's find empty. Still smoking. No, I've explored mostly this way, and then I went this way where I found the desert, which was really cool. I was going originally, my spawn is all the way up here. I was going originally south. I can go a little more south today. Meteor Archer is just right there. You wouldn't have to dig it. Actually, those are high quality. Which I still need some. They run into the bushes. I think they do it on purpose, man. I keep losing them. There's a mod that you can see their footprints. They have it on the other server, but I don't have it in here. Huh? I swear they just hide on those. Here. Maybe a lot of meteors in this area. More cattail. Spelt. Sure, let's make sure it's not taken. Oh my lord, is this limestone and bauxite? Oh my lord. This is quite a find. I have to mark this. This allows me to start working on bauxite and limestone. I'm gonna need bauxite eventually for steel, if I ever get that far. More high fertility soil. I'm already carrying some, so why not? I also mess around with graphics settings. I had a lower setting to play on multiplayer because I was having some issues. I think I can handle this much. That's really not enough. Well, then, let's do this. Put water in there. No. Is this going to be a mess when I'm actually trying to balance the crops and everything? Yes. Yes, it will. Hopefully by the time the first few crops are grown, I can just make another farm somewhere else. It's gonna be like my second one. Durability is pretty fucking high. So it's this one. Put this so it's easier to see. I actually don't have a torch, do I? Slow down. For today. Thank you very much, present, or should I say past me. Going forward, I will not be recording more of my playthroughs, my voice while doing playthroughs, because most of the time I'm just quietly doing stuff, and the other times I'm just mumbling to myself, which is not ideal for speaking, obviously, and I don't think it makes for a good experience. A lot of those things I record very early in the morning. If you've been noticing the times on the real time on top left, which is my real time, which means it's really early in the morning for most of those videos. And I just am not very energetic. I'm not very talkable, I guess. I'm not speaking very much. I'm not very loud, and I just kind of mumble a lot when I'm deep in thought or when I'm trying to figure out what to do next. So for your sake and mine, let's just I do the voiceover after the fact. It's not that complicated. Important thing is I got my pickaxe, I got my hammer. It's time to go mining. not as a coincidence that ended up being such perfectly matched in time, but it did. I found a pretty good chunk of copper on my first attempt. And I had hoped today would be mostly just about getting copper. But as it often happens when I wander around and I start collecting random shit, I find a resin. And that turned out to be a deadly mistake. Because I forget, bears really like me for some reason, and this one was really pissed at me. Most of the bears just attacked me once and left me alone. This one wanted blood, and thanks to my new armor, I run a lot slower. Or not a lot, but a little slower, which means he can catch up to me. And that was that. My first death on this playthrough. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. Well, I know what to do. I gotta get back the fuck there and get my stuff back. I take my armor off because I really underestimated how much of a difference that move speed would make. I pick up a rock just in case I need to throw it and then run away. I really want to get my stuff back, but I don't wanna have to fight him while getting my stuff back. Or her. I didn't see if it was a male or female bear. The point of the matter is, it doesn't matter. It's a fucking bear, and it's going to kill me if I don't get my stuff back, and I can't even fight. I'm not gonna make a spear on my way. I'm just gonna get there and get my shit back. And yet, I probably should have made a spear or left a extra spear around my home for cases like this. Situations like this are important to plan around, but I never do because I never expect it to happen. Even though there have been so many close brushes with that. I have not died yet, so I don't know, I just was playing very carefully. In fact, I'm still playing carefully by just running into the wilds, no weapons, nothing. I have my armor on my hotbar, and I'm just hoping that nothing bad happens. And, well, when you're hoping nothing bad happens, guess what? Something bad is going to happen. And I find a wolf. Wolves are not that big of a deal. My helmet, I kept my helmet equipped because it doesn't actually slow me down, and it still managed to catch me for a nibble because I'm going downhill. I don't know if going this direction itself makes it so they can catch me. So I'm just running. I don't want to fight it. Obviously, I don't have anything to fight with it. So fight it with English. Well, the crisis is averted. Unfortunately, there's still a bear around here, and unfortunately, I still don't have any weapons. I ended up even expecting that I'm gonna have to fight and to heal, so I pick up one of these just to eat it a little bit. Not gonna do much for me, so I just kind of give up that idea of eating that. I have food on my body, I just have to find it and not get it horrifically mauled by a bear while doing so. Thankfully my corpse seems to be left alone. I walked all the way here, you saw how long that took, even sped up. No signs of my assailer anywhere. And I'm not expecting it to continue like this, to be honest, so I'm just kind of still searching for this bear. I know it's around. The wolf from before seemed to have stuck around, so I decided now I could actually fight back. But I also decided that I still suck ass at firing, and the game decided that it doesn't want to give me my weapon back, so the wolf just kind of runs away. And yeah, I don't think I want to chase it too much because I'm not really here for hunting, and I really don't have space for hunting. I have a lot of stuff in my inventory already. But when I see the sandstorm, I was like, this stuff sucks. I ain't dealing with that. He can deal with that himself or herself. And I also didn't see the wolf. Now the bear is still nearby. So when I see all of the copper bits, I'm like, I have to get this. But I also know the bear's still here. But that's so much copper bits that it means that probably something big down here. But the bear is still here. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye out. It's almost nighttime, which is not ideal for fighting bears. And in fact, I look away and guess who I found in the distance? I see my old buddy. Well, at least I think it is. I look at my map, plan my surroundings, play my attack. I know there's water nearby and I know I can beat this bear on the water, so I go on the offensive. I'm not going to allow myself to be surprised by another bear while I'm fucking digging. That shit was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. If I died here on the dark, I would probably be out for the rest of the day. I would not be able to come back here. Also, I found will-o-wisps. They are pretty rare. Well, we're back to some more mining time. Is coming to a close, and I'm in the middle of land that is owned by bears and wolves apparently, so I have to make my way on the dark back home. But it becomes extremely obvious as time goes by that I cannot make it home in time. And now I have to make a decision. Am I going to do the same thing I did last time I was over here, or am I actually going to stop? And for once I decide, yes, I am going to stop. I bought myself in for the night and just called it here. I managed to fight 2 bears. I managed to get some ore, a lot of ore, So I think it was a productive day. I'm gonna be honest, the next day I kind of dreaded getting back to the game, so I only got into do my run really late at the day, and I was very concerned because I still had to make it home. I remember where I stopped and I remember what I was doing. So, I took it. Thankfully, I wasn't that far, and thankfully, it was very easy to come back home. No other second bear attacks, which was quite a surprise. I've done some crazy things in this game, but not quite two bears at once, I gotta tell you. Takes some time to make food, and I also need to melt all that copper to make myself an anvil. Now, anvils in Vintage Story, they have tiers. Like just most things in this game, they have tiers of depending on the material you use. Most tools you have, honestly. And flint is basically the basic tier, is tier 1. And then you have copper tools, which are tier 2. You have bronze tools, which are tier 3. And you have iron tools, which are tier 4. And then you have steel tier, which is steel tools are tier 5. There's only a handful of things you need steel tools for. In general, iron tools will do the trick. You only mostly need steel for getting chromium, and if you want your armor and weapons to be a little bit better. Making steel is a very costly process and very time consuming, and making iron is a little bit, but not nearly as time consuming because you need to make iron first to be able to make steel anyway. You need to use the iron ingots to make the steel with coal. So if you never made steel in this game, don't worry, iron will do you just fine. You can use mostly iron things for your playthrough and not have to worry about making steel tools or anything. Iron is perfectly fine in game. Very little things steel is gonna matter besides armor, honestly. And I commemorate my victory against both of those by picking them up as they died, fighting together, facing each other as they died. I break the nuggets apart, and then I realize, well, I probably should have made a pickaxe, not a pickaxe, but a prospecting pick. Because my next goal, obviously, is getting some bronze. I need 900 units of bronze for my anvil and 100 for a pickaxe. So 1,000 units of bronze should ideally be all I need. But because iron comes in such large quantities, I probably am going to need about 3 or 4 pickaxes. I can just get one pickaxe worth of iron and then come here and process it and then go back with an iron pickaxe or two. But it's much more likely that I will make just extras just in case. There are a few mods that I wish existed in the game, mostly one that lets you select how much metal you want to make. Like if you have more than an amount, you can just type up and then it just takes off or you select from a list. And it goes by like multiples of hundreds because not making a multiple of hundreds is kind of useless. And obviously there are other things besides the multiple of hundreds modes that you can use, but all of the modes use multiple of hundreds. You only really have cases like if you have xskills where you can use like modes give 10% less or take 10% less, 20% less, or 30% less, or 25% less, I believe it is. And then you can do one of those modes with 80, but even then, yeah, I would really like to be just able to pick from a drop list. Like you put the amount of tin and copper you have, or whatever, you fill it up, and then you're like, I want 1,000 of bronze, and then you just put the proportions right. The other mod I would really like is when you're smithing, because a lot of mods I end up adding more smithing recipes, very common. You end up with a smithing screen that is massive, just gigantic, and I would like something that sorts them by like mod, if that makes sense, or like vanilla recipes and mods. Just as like if you've been on the creative mode, I want like pretty much that, but for smithing when you put work thing on the anvil. I tried my hand a little bit with trying to get custom traits, and I might look into trying to get some mods on my own in this game. It seems fun. And modding again like this is pretty much, I feel, the main purpose of the game. I'm not saying that the base game is bad. I am not saying that you should play without mods. You know, but this game is made in such a way where the main game itself is considered a mod. They give you like full modding support. I mowed up everything over here, make some extra ingots, and you might have noticed that it's time to dig again. Quite a good amount of copper. I don't know if I need to make more copper digging sequences for you guys, so I probably will just be skipping it. But you get to enjoy the nice music break every now and again, right? You're thinking about what my next step is. Obviously, I need to go prospecting. And I need to find the things needed for bronze. But right now, I am also considering, since I'm going to be making an anvil, making some boards. I forgot to plant that. I noticed that I'm never gonna come back for this because two that are not. They don't have anything, so they're just gonna be there for a good while. You don't worry about it. I bring a lot of peat, which is nice because I use peat a lot. I mean, there's a lot of peat around here, so since I was out getting stuff, I got a peat too. And then I managed to make a prospecting pick right then because it's still firing it up. But I didn't manage to make my anvil. Unfortunately, this highlights the fact that this is probably too small for me to bolt. Keep firing my stuff here, treated as my kitchen, and that means it's time to expand the building. Unfortunately, it's so late in the game that I have to stop building. And unfortunately, I'm also already source building, so those guys are now spawning, and I have to come back tomorrow and do more building. And as the day comes to a close, so does my playthrough on the 18th of November. Only 2 more days until I finish this week on Vintage Story. I'm still baiting out of art, and I will be for a while because I hardly changed the building type for a structure once I begin working on it. But don't worry, I'm sure there will be more structures eventually. 19 begin pretty loud. I can hear stuff spawning outside, and I'm just kind of stuck inside for a little while. Not much I can do about it, honestly, because I want to build. I decided to just bite the bullet and maybe take a little nap so I can actually enjoy myself while playing the game, even though it's going to make my day shorter. Unfortunately, this place keeps getting raided by enemies, and I keep doing very badly at taking care of those enemies, as you are just going to watch. My near death from that punch is so lucky, and that stone missed me, so I would have died from a stone throw from a drifter, which does pathetic damage usually, but that was more than enough to kill me right there. And thankfully, I survived my brush with that on just being an idiot. I patch myself up, and I decide to not take it standing, or not take it lying down, and I stand up for myself by coming back to beat up those guys that are enclosed and cannot escape in any way that almost kill me. That was quite the wake-up call for the start of the day. That was not very long after I just started playing the game, so yeah, you know what I wanted to do, so let's go back to some building. Making tools with this mod is very comfy. I like the fact that I have so much control, and I can actually use bones for the handles and stuff for more than just knives and axes, which is really, 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 really nice. Unfortunately, I realized that I threw away all of my stone, and I need more stone to make the crucible, or not the crucible, the forge. The base is the forge. So I am going to have to pick up some more, and instead of digging, I'm just gonna pick it up because I don't need that many. In games like this, I feel like I spend a good amount of time just expanding my workplace, and I feel like a lot of people like building a lot more than I do, and I don't like building, but I do like having space. So I try to make spacious areas so I can do myself. My base here is a little bit of an exception because it was kind of a time constraint. My first bases usually tend to be like this. And just to show it off here, the Knapster thing does work with metal, so I start to work with the first piece of metal, but look how slow it is. It's like a health hammer in the way that it just hits and then this immediately goes to the right spot. I can just hold left click and it just does it for me. I like smithing a little more than I like making clay, because with smithing you already have the stuff, you just gotta have to there's actually a penalty for failing, you know, there's actually a mini game itself. And with xskills, when you get your smithing level very high, which I do because I'm always smithing on the multiplayer server I play, you can just heavy hit, and with your heavy hits just works better than a health hammer, so you just like it doesn't work very well in here because I'm used to it, and I'm like, oh wait, I can't just do that by default, and then I actually have to move them. But it's not that bad. It's really not that bad at all. Probably uses less on my hammer to use the Knapster mower, but it is slower. I feel I just can do this faster than just using that, and it's just, you know, one of the things that is nice about Vintage Store is that everything is so involved in the crafting, and you have all those things you can craft, and you usually do have to make them step by step, and that makes them feel really rewarding to have. So it's better than just holding down a button and being done with it. Even though it just feels like pointless waiting, I might as well just make it. It's not that complicated. It's really easy. What I'm doing right now is not required at all to progress the game. I made a copper anvil, and I'm making a blade, or not a blade, a saw blade, and I'm making, obviously to make a saw, and I'm making bolts to make chests. Both of those things are optional. I could have gone straight for a bronze anvil. If you just stick with your hammer and your pickaxe, you can even make more molds to make axes and spears and stuff. Sadly, I did not have on me a light source that it can go in the water, and for this mod, I actually need those tools to be code. I can without those mod, you can just put a stick on the crafting grid and make your saw, and it's fine. Even if it's 3 billion 100 degrees, it makes the saw just fine. There's no penalties or anything. But in this mod, I actually have to hold the saw, and I have to hold something in my offhand, so I can't have the tongs, so I will burn my hand. So, sorry for the dark footage over there. I make my saw, same as anything else. I put the handle, I combine them, and then I put something to bind them. A handle and a binding, and then you combine one at a time. It's just that simple, it's nothing complicated. The saw gives me access to boards, which are very handy. They let you make buckets, they let you make doors, they let you make all sorts of things. I technically already had access to boards if I just went into the ruins over there and took them. But in order to keep my progression, I don't know, I just kind of did not want to take them when I couldn't make them. I think this is a feeling a lot of people have, that when you get to late game in this game, you're playing a completely different game than you are on the early game. And there's no really point to getting stuff that will make a big shortcut on your early game. Like, sure, you can find some nice stuff, but it shouldn't be like, oh, I can just straight up skip having to do all of this. Anyway, I got some more wood, and look at that. I have myself a lot of wood to work with, and I can make doors and all kinds of things, which is mostly what I'm going to be spending the rest of this playthrough, this week doing, upgrading my base and making sure that everything is set up, especially storage space, because holy shit do I need storage space. I need storage space so fucking bad. As I am mesmerized by the prospects of doors, I don't even notice the looming midnight, and by the time I do notice that it's past my time, I will be over a little bit, but thankfully, it's not like I do much. I'm just placing down some more doors. I don't know why I just went outside and looked away as if I'd never done it before, but I guess it's because it's a new thing. I didn't even look at the time. I'm just so mesmerized by the fact that, wow, I have doors now, I guess. And I make one more from my cellar. When I really need to look at the timer and stop, and eventually I do. I'm just wasting more time without noticing, but it's fine. It's not like I did a whole lot. And it's not like I went that far. I finally noticed that, oh my god, I'm way past the time. I need to get the fuck out of here. And that's the 19th. And on to the next and last day of the week, the 20th of November, real time, real day. Now that I have all those boards, I can make several upgrades to the base, and I will be making more. Boards give you a lot of options on things. I mean, a lot of things use boards, and especially for building. Which would mean I could spend some time chopping trees and building my base better out of wood. Am I going to do that? Not today, and probably not in a while. One of my favorite things that boards can do is actually just crates. You notice that I took some crates from the ruins even though I said I wouldn't take boards. And I feel like you find a lot of crates in ruins. Like, you find so many crates in ruins. And crates are not that expensive. Boards are a lot more versatile, right? And Crates have one purpose, and it is storing one item. They store a lot of that in one item, but they only store one item. So I don't feel like they are that game breaking, and they are very, very common. So I don't feel bad about taking crates, because they really, I could have just made more reed chests. It would just be more grindy. They didn't actually provide anything new, like boards are really mad, like doors. I can make enclosed spaces with doors, and it's just one click, and I don't have to use the flimsy door that breaks apart when I use it. Unfortunately, the enemy spawn seems to be still pretty high outside, so I just stick myself inside and I make some more niceties. I really like the vertical. A lot of things, like I said, I like things that take physical space in the world, and I can store my things and I can see that they're right there and I can take them. It's not the most efficient because a chest would do this much better. I also struggle a little bit to put it the way I want it. And even though it's not the most efficient, it is nice to have a visual confirmation. You can see the stuff you have made, you can see the stuff you accomplish. It's not only there to look pretty, but it does look nice to have your thing. And then I make a discovery that shatters my brain and honestly demoralizes me a little bit. I was counting on papyrus, or not papyrus, parchment. I was counting on parchment. The server I play, you can make parchment out of 4 reeds. I still don't know what mod they have that allows you to do that. I try checking around. I have the mod list obviously because you can check the files of the server you're in. They're all there, they're listed there. But none of them specifically is for making parchment. There's like ink and quill, I think, or something. I'm not sure if that one is in there, but I know that one exists, and I don't know if that one has a way to make parchment earlier. I was expecting to make parchment so I could make paper lanterns, which are really easy to make. I can make them out of torches, and I don't have to use metal to make them. I can only use parchment, sticks and stuff. So I don't have that, and I decide against getting a mod that lets me do that. For now, at least. I don't know if I'm going to change my mind in the future. I might, but for right now, I'm fine with being stuck with. If I want lanterns, I have to make parchment out of leather, and if I want lanterns, I have to make candles, and I have to make metal plates. Of course, once again, I go to the pit of death, and I do a very poor job of not falling into it. I feel like I built this pit of death for myself and not the enemies at this point. Frankly, I should just remove this pit from here. I just kill everything in there. I would be doing that maybe today. Today is the 23rd, so it's 3 days after I have filmed this. And of course, the other days are already filmed. I just need to edit it. And oh boy, does this take a long time to edit and cut. So to make parchment in the base game, you have to use small pelts. And not the pelts itself, you use the raw hide, and then you treat them, and then you cut them up, you scrape them. And that is how you can make parchment if you use shears. Now, the one mod I am going to use regarding making parchment is to allow myself to use any size of hide. It's a little weird that I can only use the small hides to make parchment. The mod I'm going to use is going to allow me to use the big and the medium hides also to the medium, big, and huge hides to make parchment as well, because it's kind of just weird. They're all hide. There's no like exact difference for why the small hides you make it out of. And apparently historically as well, we did not used to make parchment out of small animals. We used to make parchment out of big animals, like bigger animals than rabbits, that's for sure. And I just felt like it wasn't like right that I was limited to just rabbits for parchment. So I am going to use a mod to make parchment easier, but I'm going to have to do the same process anyway. It's just that I don't have to limit myself just to a specific size of leather or raw hide, even though they're all raw hides and they work basically the same way. So yeah. That is my directive. I haven't added that mod yet in this playthrough. I'm also I'm just putting a lot of barrels now because I will be making leather, and leather makes me backpacks and gives me more inventory slots, which are really, really nice. I make myself some buckets. It's a little bit of construction, but it's not that big, so I'm just not gonna even bother putting music. I know that I want to put water up there, so I cover one layer extra so the water won't just fall on my head. And the buckets are all set up. One in the kitchen, one by the barrels, and one just for me. Why do I want a bucket for me? I want a bucket for me because I will be using it to mine once I get more hits on my prospecting peak. I like using the bucket over the ladders. And if you know anything about mining in this game, I'm going to dig straight down. I'm just going to use the water bucket to give me a way back up. If you're not very familiar with this game, and you're familiar with Minecraft, you probably think that's a pretty bad idea, just go in the caves. But caves are really, really deadly in this game. The enemies you see on the surface are the basic enemies, and you see them kicking my ass every now and again because I'm so weak right now. And the enemies on the lower below are definitely going to kill me in one hit or two. And if I just go into caves and I have to fight them repeatedly, that's gonna be a really bad time. And the torches do not stay forever, so I can't just light it up slowly, run away, and just keep coming back, and eventually hope nothing can spawn on that cave anymore. Just fill it up with torches, because I only have 2 in-game days before they completely burn out. Now, that's not to say you can't spelunk in caves early on, it's just that it's very, 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 very hard and very, 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 very dangerous. But the reward is also very, very, very high because you can find a lot of ores that are really hard to find on normally just by prospecting and digging. I was lucky enough to find some lime on one of those chests, on one of those ruins I found or something. I don't remember which one right now. But the fact that I have lime means that I have easy access to some curated or treated leather. Treating the leather is great because it doesn't lock you in either one path. If you oil it up, it's locked into becoming a pellet. But if you treat it, it can become leather, it can become curated leather, and it can even become parchment. And the big advantage is normal leather will spoil. Rawhide just spoils after time. But if you treat it, if you just soak it in lime water, it will not spoil anymore, and you can just keep it indefinitely like that. You can also scrap it, which is the same thing. We can scrap leather does not spoil. I ended up leveling up. I need more wood, specifically oak wood, to make my next step on the leather treatments. Uh, Treating leather isn't very resource intensive, thankfully, but it is very time intensive. You need the barrels, you need the water, you need to make the tanning and everything. You need just takes oak. You can also make leather with borax instead of lime, but borax is used for other things other than making leather, and lime is a lot easier to find because I found the limestone. If you remember, I found the limestone and the bauxite, and the orange and the white stone in that hole, and I was very excited about it. And that allows me to just not care too much about borax as a leather making tool. I can make leather just out of limestone. I just need to grind it, and for that we need a quart. Thankfully, I already have everything I need to make a quart. I just have to go and get it. There's another thing I want to get with a stone, which is the grindstone, so I don't have to use whetstones for everything. For that, I am going to need stones. I get I for some reason think a quart just needs one, like just one stone. So I come here and get two stones, one for the quart and one for the grindstone, which also needs a full stone. If you don't know about it in this game, you need to break all the blocks around the stone block to get the full stone block. Otherwise, you're gonna break it into smaller rocks. Those smaller rocks cannot be put together in any way to make the rock again or the stone block again. You just get the small rocks, and to get the full stone, you have to mine all the blocks around it so it just falls by gravity, and then you can pick it up. Of course, that's how you do it in vanilla. There's other ways in modded to do, other ways to make to get stone. Specifically, the quarry mod is excellent. You can just rip off an entire section of stone and then later process it. The grindstone is really nice. You just put it down. It doesn't seem to have any durability or anything. I just try it out, and it's fantastic. I don't have to worry about making whetstones over and over. I even think about just taking it with me. It seems like I can just break it. There's something about taking it apart, but it seems like I can just break it and just take it with me. But I want to leave this one over here. Maybe I'll make another one and just take it with me, and I can just sharpen my tools on the go. It feels like worthwhile to have that on me. And it took most of the day to just get those little upgrades and a little bit of touching up, building up my forge area. I'm quite satisfied with it, but I don't have a lot of time left, so this is how I'm going to be ending the last day, stuck here with the enemies spawning outside. But I accomplished quite a fair deal in this week. I managed to get some metal tools going, I managed to get an ammo, I managed to get started on feeding leather. My farm is still going on strong. I died, my first death. I fought 2 bears at once, which was crazy. And I'm feeling pretty content on my accomplishments this week. If you managed to watch all the way over here, you are crazy, and I thank you. And those videos are highly experimental, and they are mostly a thing just to amuse myself. See you guys next week.